All right, this lesson is going to be on how to improvise a solo over the Hotel California progression. So this could really help you with kind of any progression you come across, because we're going to be able to kind of look at the arpeggios and some basic scales that kind of run through these things. So first, we have a B minor chord. So you got your 7, 9, 9, and 7s. And then we have an F sharp 7 or F sharp. F sharp would be 9 with the 11s. F sharp 7 could be 9, 8, 9, 7. Then we have A, big A bar chord. We got an E major. We're gonna have a G and a D, then an E minor, and then an F sharp again, or F sharp 7. Okay, so B minor, F sharp 7, A, E, G, D, E minor, F sharp, or 7. Okay, so it's a very interesting chord progression because it modulates. So first of all, it's in this minor right here. When you go to that 7 right there, you've already modulated because you've brought in a note. See that note right there? It's like a B flat note. But if we were doing a B minor 7 arpeggio, you'll see that, or even like a B minor pentatonic scale, nowhere in there is that note. So as soon as we went to that F sharp, we've modulated. That's where arpeggios are very helpful. If you could see the F sharp dominant 7 arpeggio, you can really see the outline of the notes that would work best when that chord is happening. And sometimes they have nothing to do with the previous chord. So like I say, right there, that's already a modulation. Now we go to this A, to the E. Now we go to this G to the D. It's like we've modulated again. Because there is no situation in a key where you'd have like a to E and a G to D. Because there's only one spot in a diatonic chord progression where you'd have two majors a step away from each other. You would not have two other majors next to each other like that. So this whole thing's modulating. You get back to E minor, back to the F sharp. So this is a tricky kind of progression where you can't just have one scale really, because you got to get into the arpeggio look notes. Okay, so that's just a little example. So let's look at the B minor 7 arpeggio. 7, 10, 9 on the 5th string. 7, 9, 7, 7, 10, 7, 10. So those are our notes that match that chord perfectly. And of course you want to get to know these notes in other positions and stuff as well. Say if we had started on this B. Same thing if you were down here. 2, 5, 4, 2, 4, 3, 2, 5. Okay, and then when we go to the A, it's a major. So let's think of the A major pentatonic scale. So we got 5, 7 to 9, 7 to 9, 7. That's the octave of that A. So we'd start again. I always call it like the 3 in a row off a major pentatonic. You'd have 3 in a row on that one string, and that gets you into the better position to enable you to get to this. So there's 3 in a row here, and then there's 2, and then we're on the octave of the A again, 3 in a row, and then 2. So that's a good way to know the major pentatonics. So that's kind of the notes you choose with A. Now there's all kinds of things like here's the A shape. So you want to see things like that. Look at that. A is not only like it's sliding into the major pentatonic, but it's also these shapes of A. And where's that 4 note that's not in the arpeggio, not in the major pentatonic? It's still a good note to use though. So when you have like a A shape, that little D down there repeats itself here. Okay, and then we're in G. Think about the G. G major pentatonic notes, D. So when you can get kind of looking at these things in different ways and seeing like chunks of chords, like that'd be that little sus thing, that little 4 note thing for the D. Okay, and then we got E minor. You can look at this E minor 7 on the A string. 7, 10, 9, 7, 9, 8, 7, 10. Okay, so I'm gonna get this loop going, and then of course we're back to the F sharp. Take a look at that F sharp 7 arpeggio. 2 and then 1, 4, 2, 4. I think you should use your first finger here. That helps the rest of it play out well. So 2, 1, 4, and then kind of change positions up 1 there. 2 to 4, 3, 2, 5, 2, 6. So you're trying to see the outlines of all these different chords, like arpeggios and triads and major pentatonic kind of shapes and scales and stuff. So I'm gonna get this loop going. I'm gonna give you some ideas of how to solo over a progression like Hotel California. Here, maybe something minor pentatonic. You could just take this up. There's your F sharp. Now we need an A. Now we need an E. Kind of could have done that. We need a G. D. Now we need an E. E minor. So let's look at those again. We got B minor. So I was using notes from B minor pentatonic. Right? Then we get to the F sharp dominant 7. You got to start looking at, okay, here's those 11s. You know, that little half step thing that sounds good with a dominant 7. This would be the minor third into the major third. Look at that chord there. That 11 on the second string, that's your major third. So you want to see these arpeggios both up and down. Take them down as far as you can so you have more options. Okay, and like I said, we looked at the A. Find an A someplace. Here's an A. You do that like BB box kind of major pentatonic thing. And then we want an E. So let's look at the E shape. Comes here. So you got your A. And then you have your part of that E chord there. And then we go to a G. Here's a G. Or here's a G. And we settle into that D shape, right? So see how these things shift from one thing to the other? And And then we're going to go to E minor. That's where we want to know our E minor 7 arpeggio. And then we're back to our F dominant 7, F sharp dominant 7 arpeggio. So once again, all these arpeggios. That's B minor 7s. Then we have F sharp dominant 7. Or I can't stress how important these things are, you know. And like I say, A, it's just a major, so it doesn't have that 4th note to be an arpeggio. It's just kind of triad stuff, but you can definitely use your A major pentatonic. Sounds great on this. And then we're on an E. Think about the open E. And like I say, think about that note, that 4th note. So that'd be the A note. Just kind of throwing an A, the 4 note of an E, into the major pentatonic, because the major pentatonic is 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8. So there's no 4 in it, but that's when you end up with like a little E shape. That 4 does sound good as an added note. That kind of brings it into being a hexatonic major, they call that, a 6-note scale. So then we were on the G. Now think about this D. Here's your... That'd be your D triad notes, right? Here's your D shape. There's that extra 4 note in there. Okay, then we're in E minor. If you wanted the open one, O 3, 2, open 2, open 3. Okay, so I'm gonna give it one more round, give you some more ideas. Take it. F sharp 7 arpeggio. A. Going to E. G. So a lot of this stuff, you got a lot of time on these major pentatonic scales for each chord. Then you got your dominant 7 on the F sharp. B minor again. Think about that special note for the F sharp 7. You got A, going to E, G, D, lot of things you do, all those majors in a row, right? All right, how to solo on Hotel California and a variety of progressions, knowing the arpeggios, the major pentatonic scales, etc. Thanks a lot for watching, y'all. Talk to you soon.